Welcome, everyone, back to another BRAP rant. Welcome back. Welcome back. Haven't done one of these in a couple days and wanted to do one. Welcome, everyone, back to another BRAP rant. Wanted to do another one because of, just something. Like I said, if there's some late breaking news or some topics of interest that I want to rant about, I'll go ahead and do them. And so, hey, what's up, Nate? Nate's in the live chat. What's going on, man? Thank you for joining me this beautiful Wednesday morning. It's Wednesday here, East Coast in the U.S. Yeah, welcome. Appreciate you joining us in the live chat. But I'm still kind of getting my bearings here. I haven't had my coffee yet this morning. So part of me is I take a sip of some coffee while I rant. Oh, man. Gotta get my mojo going this morning. All right, so I'm sure a lot of us, or many of you, have are already probably heard the most recent allegations in regards to sexual harassment in the workplace, racism. I mean, this is we're getting this is 2017 will go down as the year that people finally spoke up and brought to light things that people have been sweeping under the rugs for years: sexual harassment, sexual assault, sexual molestation. Look at the U.S. Women's gymnastics program. That program was rocked by a molestation scandal, and I forget the name of the doctor who is going to jail. And I tell you what, he's going to have a miserable jail sentence because pedophiles tend to be on the lower end of the totem pole in prison society. They're not looked upon very fondly. And it's in 2018. Here we go. We're starting off with another bang. And look, let's face it. Our the industry that we love, the developers, companies that we follow, they're not immune to these problems. They're not. It's not out of the realm of impossibility that some of these issues, some of the things that we've seen. I bring up the yes, chicken. You're right, Larry Assange, I think, is the doctor's name, the U.S. gymnastics doctor. And actually, chicken, I don't know if you know this, but another female gymnast came out and look, really, it takes a lot of courage for these people to come out and speak up and speak out against this kind of thing. And I have a lot of respect for the people that have said, you know what, enough's enough. I'm going to speak out, and it's good. It's good that they do speak out, because this is a conversation that needs to happen in this country. This is something that, and I know people that have been sexually abused. I have friends, um, that have come out and have admitted to this. And I know more people than I would even care to realize. Part of them even coming out and telling me that have been through this. You know, it's look, I it's crazy. I've been sexually harassed at work myself. I mean, I laugh because most people don't think that it's possible for men to be harassed, but I have. And it was a little uncomfortable for me. And these things happen, and a conversation needs to happen. These things need to be brought to light. And I think it's very brave and admirable that these people are doing it. We go back to, God, the whole Penn State thing. I mean, that was just terrible. Terrible what was going on there for years of sexual abuse and misconduct. So let's not fool ourselves. Let's not think that the gaming industry would potentially be immune to these kinds of problems, because let's face it, you have a human element, and this human element has displayed or shown instances of or has shown us that, look, people can do really evil things. People can sexually assault women, sexually harass colleagues of the workplace. Um, People can create toxic work environments where people are verbally abusive, bullied, where racist jokes are made, where people are made fun of, where people work in harsh working conditions and have to work in unrealistic, under, work under the guise of unrealistic work expectations. Um, I've seen that in my own life, my own personal life. I work coming from the recruitment and staffing industry. That's and as a business development manager, you know, depending on what company you work for, that can be a brutal industry where you're working under. I've seen people get cussed out. I've seen people be made fun of. I've seen people cry. I've seen managers yell at women, female employees, cursing at them. I've seen these things, and you know, these are things that often weren't even reported. So these things aren't out of the realm of impossibility. Nate says, I agree the truth should always be brought to light. However, allegations should not be automatically taken as fact, as plenty of evil has been done by lying about these things as well. Yeah, I certainly understand that point, Nate. But let's remember something. I think, and I think what's kind of raised an eyebrow for me, and I'll get into this a little bit. You have about 10 plus employees that partook in this interview with this French media publication, which my understanding is one of France's biggest newspapers. This isn't like a Kotaku type website or a gaming website. This is like a big media outlet, a big media paper. So, but I understand what you're saying. But there's that saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. Let's not let's not also um, and I think part of the problem with I'm not totally disagreeing with you, Nate. By the way, I think you're right. There's obviously we've seen instances of allegations that aren't true, but I think that we should also um, we should, and I think for such a long time, I think victims of such crimes or behavior um, were hesitant to come out because the backlash, that perception of you're lying. Um, and so I think it's something we just have to be careful of. And again, I'm not disagreeing with you, Ned. I think obviously there's been instances where lying about these things have caused great harm to other people. But I think, in my opinion, more often than not, these things, majority of the time, these accusations tend to be true, especially when you have instances of multiple reports. Let's say within a company like Quantic Dream, when you have multiple reports of this type of behavior happening. Um, so let me. I just want to highlight a couple things about this report. So this story, I think, broke on. I think it broke on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. And so, as we know, Quantic Dream has been a partner studio for Sony for quite some time. If you're not familiar with Quantic Dream, they're behind such games as Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain, and the upcoming game Detroit Become Human, which is a cinematic narrative-driven adventure game. And that's much like the games that Quantic Dream tends to make. It's a game where player choice greatly impacts the story. So it's probably one of the biggest PlayStation 4 exclusives coming out this year, and it's probably one of the most anticipated as well. And it's interesting, I was thinking about Sony and their studios. This isn't the first Sony studio, and I'm not aware of any issues like this within any Microsoft studios. And if they are, please let me know in the live chat. But we remember the allegations over at Naughty Dog that were made about sexually inappropriate behavior, advances, assault, or I should say assault, but advances, um, harassment there, and it was the individual that came out and spoke against it had mentioned that he had taken this to HR, and things, nothing was really done. I mean, things were kind of swept under the rug, and so here we are again. And I'm not saying this is a Sony problem, but I think that this is, um, I think this is pretty interesting that we have another studio that is partnered with Sony, that where we've heard these allegations. And if I'm Sony, I'm probably trying to figure out what's going on internally with these studios, because look, this isn't good PR. I think any way you look at this is not good. It doesn't make Quantic Dreams look good. It doesn't make Sony look good. And you maybe say, well, Enrique, why does it not make Sony look good? Well, this is one of the studios that Sony partners with. And here we are with another studio that Sony works with, where we hear these allegations. And, I think if you're partnering with an organization, you see and you hear these things, I think it probably makes good sense to have a conversation, say what's going on, or figure out what steps need to be taken to kind of alleviate this, but alleviate these issues. So as I mentioned, the French publication Le Monde, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. They publish reports of alleged toxic culture at Quantic Dream, and Le Monde, per some sources internally and former employees, claims that the studio head, and I'm probably not going to pronounce his name correctly, Guilherme de Fondamir. I'm probably totally butchering that, by the way. Totally butchering that. Has been accused of sexual misconduct, and the paper claims that. So he's serving as the current producer for Detroit Become Human, and allegedly it's claimed that he's been known to force kisses on women at company parties, as well as engage in other inappropriate behavior. Um, David Cage has also been accused of creating a toxic work environment, and according to some of these reports, Cage has himself made racist comments aimed at staff. There was an incident where hundreds of photoshopped images depicting employees in homophobic, sexist, and offensive ways were circulated around the office. Now, both Cage and Fadimir have both denied these allegations. David Cage has already released a statement addressing these issues, and let me read his statement. Quote, "You want to talk about homophobia? I work with Ellen Page, who fights for LGBT rights. You want to talk about racism? I work with Jesse Williams, who fights for civil rights in the USA. Judge me by my work." So that's those are his response. Look, I don't think any of us expect any less here. I don't think anyone expects him to, offer a rebuttal to these allegations. But interestingly enough, um, it's out there now, and another some of the other allegations that have come up, um, that there's some evidence that points to Quantic Dream having a less than ideal work environment. Um, Previously, 5 former employees in 2017 filed complaints about the photoshopped images, and the studios reportedly has been characterized as having high turnover rate, with some employees describing Cage as hard to work with. And look, anytime you see an organization has high turnover, I can tell you, and this is just based on the work that I do. Time you see high turnover, that tends to be that tends to be a evidence of an environment that's toxic. And look, there's work environments that are toxic. There's work environments that mistreat their employees. I've seen it. I've had clients that had environments like that and can't figure out why they can't hold or can't keep people employed there and why people keep leaving. It's just amazing to be surprised how out of touch people can be when making hiring decisions or building a healthy work culture. And there's other organizations that get it. There's organizations out there that understand and value their employees and have low turnover because they invest in their employees. They invest in creating a healthy work culture. I've seen it firsthand. And I have seen it. So the allegations are out there now. And again, as I mentioned, this is another studio that Sony works with, Naughty Dog last year. I want to ask you guys in the live chat, is this something that Sony should kind of investigate a little bit more or further? I mean, like I think, and I got to be honest with you, I think Sony's kind of mishandled this. I think, and I'll tell you why. I'll give you my opinion on why I think Sony's kind of mishandled this. Now, since publishing this report, the Le Mans journalist Willem Alderu has apparently been blacklisted by Sony. Sony itself hasn't made this clear to Drew, but rather some of his sources at the company have revealed this information to him. If Sony's blacklisted this individual for reporting and for speaking to former employees at Quantic Dream, doesn't that kind of raise eyebrows? It does, and it does for me. It actually does raise eyebrows for me. And I've had some people say, "Oh, well, would you, if you had a friend accuse you of something? Hey, what's up, Fuzzy Belvedere? If you had a friend accuse you of something, would you, would you still talk to them?" That's not really the same thing here. I mean, you're talking about an existing relationship. William and Quantic Dream presumably don't have an existing relationship where they're both mutually invested in this relationship. So that's not really an accurate comparison. Chicken Spaghetti says in the live chat, I think that after Detroit launches, Sony will quickly distance themselves from QD, resulting in little to no post-launch support. Also, cut all ties with QD going forward. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's an interesting take, Chicken. But I think Sony's kind of dropped the ball here a little bit, and I think if they have blacklisted, if Sony's blacklisted this journalist, I think that further raises eyebrows. At least for me, it does. Because why blacklist this individual? I've had some other folks argue the point that it's to protect employees that are currently at Quantic Dream, so they don't talk to this individual and protect the company. And look, here's the thing. People are going to talk regardless if a journalist is blacklisted. This just means that this person is not going to be receiving phone calls back or marketing requests back from Sony or Quantic Dream. And it's almost retaliatory in a way. And I don't buy I'm not buying it. And Nate's saying he tweeted afterwards he's not blacklisted. Okay. So this is new then. And Nate, thank you for sharing that. So Nate, are you saying and Nate, do you have a link to that tweet? Because I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything about him being not blacklisted, but that's interesting. I mean, okay, so if he was, let's, for argument's sake, say if he was, and Nate just provided some an update as the story's progressed, saying that the journalist wasn't blacklisted. But if he was, I think that would certainly raise eyebrows. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time Sony or even a game developer has blacklisted media. Kotaku was actually blacklisted by Bethesda and Ubisoft for leaking projects they were working on. And back in 2007, Kotaku was actually blacklisted by Sony for leaking some PlayStation projects that Sony hadn't announced yet. So I think in that regard, there's that those would be examples of blacklisting somebody as a form of retaliation, if you will. So, but look, if these things are true, I mean, I think we could all agree that we could probably expect a major shakeup over a Quantic Dream. And I wonder, I mean, I also wonder what this means potentially, or what the potential impact for the development of Detroit Become Human, how that potentially impacts that game. I mean, that would be, I guess, if Sony decided to remove both David Cage and the other gentleman who's heading up the game development of the game. It's interesting. I just think it's interesting to see how Sony is going to handle this, internally. I just, yeah, I don't know. I think if these allegations are true, I think Sony should look into this further. Look into this. I think that's just the right thing to do. I do think that if there's an issue here that needs to be addressed, they need to address it. And if these two individuals, I don't care if how big of a figure David Cage is in the gaming industry, if he's perpetuating an environment that is toxic, he's got to go. That's just the right thing to do. And if Sony finds that this indeed is happening, then there's some changes that need to be made. So, but the other question is, and I was thinking about this before I went live, is for those of us who are looking forward to this game. I'll ask you guys in the live chat: are you guys still planning on buying this game? For those of you who are interested, or does this news potentially maybe prevent you from, or does it, or does this news kind of put you in a position where you want to speak with your wallet and say, you know what, I don't condone this kind of behavior, these allegations. I'm not going to support this developer or this game anymore now. I mean, what do you guys think in the live chat? I'd be interested to get your thoughts on this. And those who are listening to this rant later on, please leave your comments in the comment section below regarding this question. Abba John says, yep, I'm still buying it. Fair enough. Chief Tommy says it won't hurt sales much. The graphic parts of the game is what's going to hurt it. I don't know about the graphics parts, but Fuzzy Belvedere says still on the fence. We'll wait for launch feedback. Yeah, I'm probably, I don't know. It's, I don't know. Part of me feels like buying this game kind of supports that behavior internally, but then it's the other part is, do you punish for the folks that worked their asses off on this game that didn't do anything wrong per se, didn't have any wrongdoing in the matter, worked in an environment that was toxic. You punish those individuals too, and that's kind of that's the kind of, like D-Truth said, the game wasn't made by one man. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like obviously there's some other people there that didn't have anything to do with this game. So yeah, I don't know. I think that when I look at it like that, then yeah, I would probably still buy the game. But there's a part of me that's a little conflicted here. I have to be honest with you guys. Just because I feel like, racism, and I've been very vocal about racism here and in the gaming community where I've seen a lot of racism, which is crazy. I've been always been outspoken of or things like that. Chicken Spaghetti says, to my knowledge, Quantic Dream's relationship with Sony is similar to Playground Games with Microsoft. They're independent, but make exclusive content for Sony. It'd be easy to cut ties with them. Yeah, no, it would be. It definitely would be, Chicken. It'd be much easier than, let's say, cutting ties with Naughty Dog. So, um, but it's interesting. I mean, do we ever? I mean, whatever happened with that Naughty Dog accusation? The gentleman that worked there. I don't remember anything coming to light in terms of. Um, Andrew Wilkins says, "Are people going to boycott George Lucas and other directors who allegedly made male actors have sex with them to be in the movies?" Yeah, I mean, I think there's some people that will. I think it just depends on how strongly you feel about that subject. I think that, yeah, you'll have some people, Andrew, that will boycott movies um, that that have done those things. Absolutely, I think you'll have some. I think you'll have some that this will shrug their shoulders and still go see the movie. So I think it's obviously an individual choice. I think it comes down to how strongly you feel about these things at the end of the day. Um, but yeah, so I think this is going to be interesting. And I think my guess is we probably don't hear much after till after maybe the till after Detroit Become Human releases. That we may not hear anything else um, in terms of maybe any additional findings or maybe Sony making another um, comment about the allegation. So, but look, this is I don't see this being the last time that we hear something like this. I mean, we've heard about remember about Naughty Dog 2017, the allegations there of sexual harassment. We've heard previously about um, unhealthy work environments. Working 7 days a week, 80-hour work weeks. Um, we've heard about these things before in the gaming industry and people burning out. So um, we'll hear about these things more, unfortunately. So um, Chicken Spaghetti says, "I'm willing to bet it won't be marketed like crazy." So, Chicken, do you think that it won't be marketed like crazy just because of the allegations? You think Sony would kind of just like pull the plug and be like, you know what, we're not going to stand behind this? That'd be interesting. I don't know. That would be interesting. Chicken says, I think it's a side effect of the allegations. Possibly. I mean, you could be right, man. You could be right. Frank Cedar says the Carolina Panthers owner has sexual allegations against him. People still support the team and players. Again, Frank, I think, yeah, you're right. There are some people that will support the team and the players. There's others that won't support the team and players. I think people, will interpret or handle or voice their opinions in different ways with regards to issues like this. Um, Obviously, I think we need to hold accountable the specific or the main individuals behind this. Um, Chief Tomei says I wasn't talking about the graphics of the game. I was talking about the graphic violence towards a child in the game. Okay, gotcha. I wasn't. I thought you said the graphics of the game. You're talking about the um. You talking about that one scene that they showed. All right, Nate says I found the tweet, but it's in French. Chief says it's about the game at the end of the day for most people. That's possibly true as well. I think you're gonna again have people out there that are going to look at this and say, you know what, these alleged allegations are terrible, but I'm still gonna buy the game because I'm looking forward to playing the game. And the product may be separate from what's going on internally. So and Nate's saying that Sony's PR team apparently responded saying he wasn't blacklisted. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that innate. I'll have to look that up too. I'll have to definitely look that up. Real quick question, guys. One thing that I wanted to ask you all real quick is, um, if you guys can hit the like button real quick, but more importantly, guys, spread the word of BRAP. We've been doing this for 2 years now. We're looking to kind of grow the channel out. And look, we're not you guys, many of you guys have been with us for quite some time, so you know that we're not a fanboy podcast by any stretch of the imagination. And we often myself I tend to really speak what's on my mind. So I definitely appreciate you guys coming in the live chat and supporting BRAP. So thank you. But real quick, guys, in live chat, if you guys have any questions, you want to ask me before we wrap up, feel free to ask me anything. Something I'm going to start doing at the end of BRAP rants, get questions from you guys. So feel free to ask away. Hey, Fox Mamba, thank you for stopping by and hitting that like button. Appreciate it. All right, any questions? Going once, going twice. I know somebody's got a question in the live chat. Fuzzy Belvedere says, "Is Digital Foundry still a go-to?" Yes, I still think they do. Look, they clearly messed up, and I believe they have since corrected that mistake with that developer. I forget the developer, the game they did. I forget the name of the game developer that was threatening to sue them. But Fuzzy Belvedere, I think Digital Foundry is still a go-to. I'm not going to question their integrity. They've been, since I've been following them last console gen, Eurogamer, they've been pretty spot on with their technical analysis of games. Um, so yeah, I think they're still a go-to. I really do. I think if you're looking for the breakdowns of hardware and software performance, to me they're still um, they're the site you go to get that information. And um, unless this starts becoming obviously a pattern of mistakes, then I would start questioning whether or not they're still a go-to. But yeah, I think they're go-to. Chicken Spaghetti wants to know a release date guess for State of Decay. Excuse me, State of Decay 2 and God of War. I would say God of War still kind of come in March. State of Decay 2 maybe May or June. Not sure. Maybe May or June. Just throwing that out as a guess. Frank Caesar wants to know, when do you think crossplay will happen? Do you think, are you saying crossplay with Sony? Because if it's crossplay, Sony allowing crossplay, it's not going to happen this console generation. I'll tell you that much. Although I think at the very least, there's certain titles that Sony should allow crossplay with, Minecraft being one of them. Um, Rocket League being another. And Nate wants to know, what are you playing right now? Let's see, Nate. I have been playing, believe it or not, I've been playing the Call of Duty World War II campaign, and I've been playing PUBG. Chief Tommy wants to know, will you play PUBG with me on Xbox? That's funny. Yeah, Chief, I'll play PUBG with you on Xbox. I'm actually, after I finish this rant, I'm gonna hop on PUBG. Um, Came close to winning a chicken dinner last night solo. And it would have been my first time winning a chicken dinner running solo by myself. And yeah, just didn't work out that way. But I'll be back. I'm gonna hop on, Chief, if you wanna run a couple games. Let's see here. Chief Tommy says there's questions, man. Is there a delay? Yeah. So Andrew Wilkins says Ben Roethlisberger, special stone, raped a lot of young girls and no one boycotted them. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. I could get into it another time. Obajan says, "Do you think it?" Obajan says, "Do you think a console from either company is coming 2019?" I don't think that. I don't think we'll see any consoles in 2019. Although I think if Microsoft dropped a console prior to Sony, and I still believe the PS5 is coming 2020, only to capitalize on Sony's 25th anniversary for the PlayStation. Um, if Microsoft announced an iterative console 2019, it wouldn't surprise me. Fuzzy Boulder says, "I want to see cross-play tournaments, Call of Duty and sports multiplayer." I think a lot of us would like to see that. I also think that's kind of where the industry is heading at some point. But you know, we have some people that don't want to play nice in the sandbox. Chief, you're right. Nintendo and Sony are doing crossplay with Rocket League and Fortnite on PC and PS4. Chicken says, "I think generations are over for Xbox, but we'll see a new console in 2020." You know, Chicken, I've kind of made that argument. I think Microsoft um is kind of going the route of Steam. I've been saying this for quite some time now, where I think it's I would never it wouldn't surprise me if 10, 15 years down the road, 20 years down the road, whatever the case is if the Xbox is an app and you can access your games on any multitude of devices, even a PlayStation. I could see that. Chief Tone wants to know: are you excited about Biomutant or Beyond Good and Evil 2? Not too familiar with Biomutant, but yes, I am excited for Beyond Good and Evil 2. Um, but yeah, Chicken. I mean, it's I think what the value proposition possibly from Microsoft is, hey, you could take all your games with you. You're not limited or closed off anymore by new console generations, and you can play the best versions of your games on our consoles. And I think that's kind of the position they take, where hey, we have this device, the Xbox One X. Then we have another device that's a little more powerful than that, and so depending on what your preferences are, we have a box for you. It's like car sale. It's like cars. It's like you have uh, you have the BMW X3, but then yeah, if you want something a little bit bigger, roomier, a little more luxurious, we have the X5. I mean, so I think that's kind of where I think they're going. Maybe maybe using cars is a bad analogy, but it just that's why the direction I see. Yeah, I haven't seen enough of Biomutant, guys. I really can't comment it. Fuzzy Bell is just Biomutant looks like a cute looter shooter that will likely be a lot of fun. Wolflo says I was almost exclusively on PlayStation the past decade. Okay, what made you change? Just out of curiosity, I'm always curious to see when people have been gaming on a specific platform for like a decade and they decided to switch over. I tend to just I play on all three platforms. I just tend to kind of go wherever the games are. Like right now, I've been primarily only been playing on my Xbox One X. But when God of War comes out, um, I'll be back on the PlayStation 4 again. So, if anyone does have any additional questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this BRAP rant. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone in the live chat for stopping by, saying hello, asking questions, for providing some great feedback, and for giving your opinions on the Quantic Dream controversy. And hey, remember, guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and okay, actually, Obi Jaden has one more question. Do you think EA will ruin Anthem? Yeah, I'm going to call you OBJ because I butcher your name. So OBJ says, "Do you think EA will ruin Anthem?" Yes, I think EA will fuck Anthem up, and they're going to do it with loot crates and microtransactions. So that's what I think about Anthem. I hope they don't. I really hope EA's kind of taking their lessons from what happened with Star Wars Battlefront. Now, obviously, the loot crate controversy really didn't impact sales per se. But I think we have to remember something. I mean, Anthem doesn't have this Star Wars name, um, on the cover, and so and I think that potentially EA may have dodged a bullet with Battlefront because it's a Star Wars game and it released within the same window of a new Star Wars movie. So I don't know. I'm sure there will be loot crates. I hope it's more of the cosmetic nature. I hope it's more of an option if it's there if you want to use it. But I hope they don't create a scenario where they're forcing you um to invest in microtransactions. Um, Foxy Mama says Anthem won't happen. I don't think anyone's looking forward to it. Yeah, it's funny. Like anytime we have like a big game, like I remember, going back to Halo back in the days when Halo first dropped, and we first heard of Killzone, and Killzone was supposed to be the Halo killer, and then Call of Duty and Battlefront was supposed to be the Call of Duty killer, and now we have Anthem supposed to be the Destiny killer. Those are some pretty big shoes to fill, and if you look at, and I think it's probably easier said than done. Um, although, um, we'll see. I mean, BioWare is definitely a talented developer. Maybe they pull this off. Um, I'm I'm not one of those individuals that is totally on the bandwagon with Anthem. Did the E3 teaser trailer or trailer they showed at the conclusion of Microsoft's Xbox E3 press conference look good? Yes, it looked cool. I just need to see more. And when people start referring to things as, "Oh, this is going to be the killer of this game," I just feel like you start setting those lofty expectations, you may disappoint yourself. So with something like that, I'm going to come in with the expectation of, is this a good game? Has EA built in a fair currency system, microtransactions, and whatnot? Um, we'll see. So we'll see. It's Anthem's definitely one of those titles that I'm keeping an eye on. I don't know if it will be a Destiny killer though. I think that's a lofty expectation to put on a game. Yeah, Fuzzy Belvedere says killer of parentheses always dooms a game. Yeah, Fuzzy, I would sort of agree with that. You set these lofty expectations, and when those expectations are met, woo, Drive Club comes to mind. Yeah. Although Drive Club wasn't a terrible game. Um but yeah, it came in there with some lofty expectations. Wolflo says they'll sell you dreams and ruin them. Are you referring to EA? And Nate says Anthem needs a massive world with tons to explore. That's where Destiny screwed up. Huge promise and delivered such a small area to play in. And Nate, it's funny you mentioned that because that's like one of the complaints I've heard from people from even from year one Destiny, where they felt like the game was going to be not just confined to our solar system. but that we'd be able to explore other systems. And well, it's just not the case. It's not the case. They're not doing that for us. Destiny's issue is end game still. They are bringing back some of the old features from Destiny 1, but the Eververse is just. We talked about this on Loot Chest Radio, by the way, guys. If you haven't checked out last week's episode of Loot Chest Radio, definitely check it out. Go to Twitter, go to @LootChestRadio, and you'll find the links to our podcast. But it's myself, Jay Fonzarelli, All Day Digital, and we had Randolph Thor 19 on. Rand, who great friend of the podcast here at BRAP, had him on a couple times. We talked about the issues that Destiny's having and the Eververse, and I know that the Eververse is one of the things that's been requested quite frequently to be removed from Destiny 2. But Rampoy is a great question. He's like, Enrique, if you removed it, what would you replace it with? I'm like, I never thought of that. And he's right. Like, how would you replace the currency system? Like, what would you do? How would you improve it if you were taking it out? How would that impact the overall game? It's a great point. I mean, I don't know. I haven't thought about it enough. So I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how they would make that work. I think maybe perhaps Bungie is kind of wedded to the Eververse. So I will say this: they need to bring back the old shader system in Destiny. The current shader system, as is poo poo, in my opinion. I don't care for it. So that's just that's what I think. ZCL says Division patch 1.8 made the game really good. If it only launched like this, I haven't played ZCL. I haven't played Division in quite some time. How is the Division these days? And I wonder what it's going to get. I wonder it hasn't been enhanced either on the Xbox One X. Also, guys, hey Fox Mama, thank you for following Loot Crate. By the way, appreciate your support. Also, guys, hit that bell too, so you can get notified when new content comes up here on BRAP. Let's see here. I'm just trying to catch up on some of the comments here. DCL says Ubisoft really doesn't give up on their games. First, Rainbow Six Siege, come back, and now the Division. Hey, you know what, ZCL? I'll say this much. Good friend of ours here at BRAP, Marcel Hatam. We've had him here as a guest on BRAP when he was working for Crytek. He's now at Ubisoft. He would be pleased. It would make him smile it would make him smile if he read your comments. So. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Ubisoft's done a great job with Rainbow Six. I mean, look at the support that they gave that game, and just look at where that game went from where it launched to, where it is now. And even the Division, I'm surprised that they're still. Hey, mad props to them. They're still supporting that game. I haven't played it in well over a year, so I don't know what it's like now. Hopefully, it's improved. I've kind of had that itch more recently, though, to kind of go back to the Division. I just don't have anyone to play it with, to be honest. Fuzzy Belver says Division is awesome. And it's not enhanced yet. Frank Caesar wants to know, whatever happened to that game 8 days that Sony showed at E3 years ago? It looked promising. I don't know. And I actually don't remember that game, to be honest with you. And Nate said the original Destiny promise was so amazing. Vast worlds to explore, turn into basically 3-mile wide corridors. Oh, man. You know what? That is probably the perfect way to describe Destiny. You have expanded corridors as opposed to anything else. I mean, it's not. You have the appearance of a vast world, but you're right. It's like a 3-mile wide corridor. that was kind of like the disappointment with with the latest DLC with Destiny 2. There was a cool story there, but mechanically the game was kind of like you were going back to the same places, and after a while I was like, why am I back here again? It was disappointing. And Nate says, I heard the Division came back hard. I might have to check this out. I might have to check out yeah, Nate, Foxy Mamba, Nate is on fire with Destiny. He's dropping those truth bombs. Destiny, I guess, yeah, for me, I think the one thing, the reason why I haven't gone back to it as much is, well, one, because PUBG. Um, I think with PUBG, the allure there for me is it's just so easy to pick up and play. Um, and then with Destiny, I'm part of a clan. My clan does raids. I don't do raids, and they do strikes, and I get gear for their work, and I think that, and I understand why they did that. I think they did it because of, I think they wanted to appeal to that casual fan base, um, but yeah, I think that may have hurt player engagement too, because it's like, okay, well, if you're part of a clan and you got a bunch of people in your clan, they're all doing the grind, the work. What's the incentive to be there to be on Destiny consistently? Really, I don't know. Just my thoughts, but ZCL says if you want to check the Division comeback, check the YouTube video, the Division in 2018. All right, I'll have to check that out. Borderlands 2 was a really good game. I don't know if I agree that it stomps on most first person shooters, but it's definitely a great game. Nate says another problem Destiny 2 has is they are killing the power fantasy. You want to feel powerful like they claim Guardians are, yet there's no truly powerful gear to obtain. Um, that's actually an interesting point, Nate, because we don't have anything like a Thorn or a Galahorn. I feel like with the exotics in Destiny 1, they were so much more memorable than what I've seen from Destiny 2. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, we don't have a last word per se, or a Thorn, or um a Galahorn. Those new exotics just don't resonate with me enough like the Galahorn did. And the Galahorn made you feel powerful. You had the Galahorn. I mean, you were doing work. I mean, I remember with the Dark Below raid, and I forget the main protagonist, or I'm sorry, not the main protagonist, but the final boss, Crota. And I remember with Crota, I mean, you show up with a team full of Galahorns, and he would just drop. He would just drop. And so that made you feel so like powerful. And not that raid was a walk in the park. I mean, I think eventually became a walk in the park, but and that had to do with other reasons, people, cheesing things and whatnot. Um, but that grind of getting through the raid and then finally getting to Crota, and then you go up there with the Galahorns. You guys are all sitting on the platform. Everyone's got their galleys out. The guys running to get the sword. It's and you drop Crota like that. I mean, that was just great. It was awesome. Fox Mama says way more memorable. I feel no motivation to continue to play sadly with Destiny 2. Yeah, I think I just those exotic, there's just something, I don't know. I don't want to say that like the weapons exotics feel bland. They feel uninspired, but I feel like they just do. Maybe it feels that way because with Destiny 1 there was these new, it was so new at the time, and we had all these armaments, and We had, all these exotics that we had never seen before, and maybe the freshness of it made it feel great and memorable. I don't know. I just feel like it's just not. I'm not getting that level of excitement that I got before when I would get a certain helmet or an exotic weapon. Yeah, Nate says they try to limit our choices in Destiny 2. Now they're being forced to bring them back. Yeah, they are. They're bringing the 6 versus 6 PvP back. Destiny should add a battle royal expansion. Let me ask you guys something in live chat because this is something that we also discussed on Loot Chest. Look, the one thing, and Rand mentioned this, the one thing the industry does very well is they tend to copycat whatever the hottest trend is. And look, right now, Battle Royale is a hot trend. PUBG, um, you have Fortnite. It's interesting because, um, and not that, my nephew's a gauge of the general gaming population, but I found it interesting. I was over at my sister's house. We had a birthday party for my dad turned 70 this weekend, and we had some people. We had threw a party for him, surprise party, and my nephew was there with a bunch of friends, and he's 12 years old. And I said, "Hey, man, he's got an Xbox One." I said, "Hey, man, you got to come over and check out the Xbox One X." And he's like, "Yeah, man, definitely." And he's like, "Hey, do you play Fortnite?" I'm like, "No, I play PUBG." He goes, "What's PUBG?" I'm like, "You never heard of PUBG? It's the biggest battle royale game." He's like, "Nah, man, we play Fortnite." And it was, about 4 or 5 of his friends are like, "Yeah, yeah, we all play Fortnite together." And so, again, I'm not saying this is a representation um of the general gaming population, but I just thought it was interesting. Like my nephew, by every stretch of the imagination, is probably more of a casual gamer than anything else, and I just thought it was interesting that he knew about battle royale games and Fortnite in particular. Um, but like Fuzzy Belvedere says, copy, 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 copy. Yeah, that's what we see. And so, um, I wonder, guys. Like I know Nate was joking around um about a battle royale mode in Destiny. But let me ask you guys something real quick. What game do you think we'll see a battle royale mode for? Like what game do you think we'll see um maybe in the form of DLC bring a battle royale mode? Would it be like a Call of Duty, maybe a new Battlefield? I've heard rumors of Ghost Recon. ZCL brings up a great point. People play RPGs to get their characters to a powerful state. And remember that part. It ain't fun anymore. That's right. Cosmetic. It's and they do it. They also do it for part of the meta for Destiny is the cosmetic piece of it with the shaders, and they took that away or made it more difficult. So yeah, I agree with you. That's a great point, ZCO. Mighty Mouse says Last of Us 2 Battle Royale would be amazing. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, obviously the Last of Us, you're crafting weapons and you're scavenging for weapons, so you have that there. And Nate says probably Ghost Recon. I could see that. Wolflo says Red Dead would be smart to jump on that. Wow, interesting. Red Dead Redemption 2. That'd be interesting. Set in the Wild West. Interesting. You know what, Nate? I need to play the Predator DLC, man, on Ghost Recon. I need to check that out. And by the way, Ghost Recon on the Xbox One X looks good. Talk about night and day. GTA 5 Battle Royale mode sucks ass. That's what Chief Tomei says. Thank you, Chief. Yeah, so I think we'll probably see more of these Battle Royale modes coming to other games in the future. I think that's look, it's hot right now, with it's PUBG with 3 million players on Xbox One, and we know about the success of Fortnite. So um, yeah, that's certainly interesting. Certainly interesting. So um, All right, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this BRAP rant. Hey, thank you everyone for your questions in the live chat. Um, some great discussion about Destiny 2 and Battle Royale games. So um, definitely thank you guys. I really appreciate the support. And hey, we're going to be live. As a matter of fact, tomorrow night, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our regular BRAP podcast. Definitely come join us. Come join us in the live chat. You know, it's myself, B Money, Eric Jackson, Mr. Negative, and we're working on having a special guest join us tomorrow. So definitely want to check that out. So everyone, again, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Tell your friends about us. Hey, and hit the bell button so you get alerts of when new content comes up for BRAP. And also remember to check out Loot Chest Radio. Also follow me on Twitter at BRAP_podcast. And yeah, guys, thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. On that note, I am out. There could be another BRAP rant later this week, depending on what news or controversy drops in the gaming industry. And if there's an issue that I see out there that I want to address, like I've been I've been really big on addressing the whole media bias thing. So there may be another rant on that coming again soon. So, but anyhow, everyone, thank you again. I really appreciate your time, and we will see you next time. Remember, join us live tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Basement Radio K podcast. I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.